Rising above the Mediterranean coastline of northern Israel, Mount Carmel stands as a beacon of faith and history, its rugged slopes bearing silent witness to some of the Bible's most dramatic moments. The very name Carmel evokes images of lush vineyards and olive groves, a land described in sacred texts as a symbol of beauty and abundance. Yet, it is not just the mountain's natural splendor, but also its profound spiritual legacy that has captured the imagination of believers for centuries. Mount Carmel's biblical significance is rooted in events that took place long before the birth of Jesus. In the Hebrew Bible, Carmel is the stage for an epic confrontation between the prophet Elijah and the prophets of Baal. During a time of deep spiritual crisis in Israel, when idolatry had taken hold under the influence of Queen Jezebel and King Ahab, Elijah challenged the people to choose whom they would serve, the Lord or Baal. The story, found in the first book of Kings, tells how Elijah summoned 450 prophets of Baal to Mount Carmel. There, before a gathering of Israelites, 2 altars were erected, one for Baal and one for the God of Israel. The challenge was clear. The true God would answer by fire. The prophets of Baal called upon their God from morning until noon, but nothing happened. Then Elijah prayed, and fire descended from heaven, consuming his sacrifice. The wood, the stones, and even the water poured over the altar. The people fell on their faces, proclaiming, "The Lord, He is God." This miracle on Mount Carmel not only reaffirmed the supremacy of Israel's God, but also marked the mountain as a place of divine encounter and decisive faith. The site traditionally associated with this event is known today as El Muraka, or Place of Burning, and remains a destination for pilgrims who seek to reconnect with this foundational story of faith. Throughout the centuries leading up to the earthly days of Jesus, Mount Carmel continued to be a place of prayer and solitude for prophets and holy men. Early Jewish and Christian traditions speak of hermits dwelling in its caves, seeking closeness with God away from the distractions of the world. The mountain's reputation as a spiritual stronghold set the stage for future miracles and revelations. After the resurrection of Jesus, Mount Carmel's significance did not wane. Instead, it became entwined with emerging Christian traditions. By the 12th century, a group of Crusader-era hermits gathered on the slopes of Carmel, inspired by the example of Elijah. These men formed the nucleus of what would become the Carmelite order. Rooted in the spirit of contemplative prayer and devotion, the Carmelites looked to the Virgin Mary as their patroness, invoking her under the title, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. The tradition holds that Mary appeared to Saint Simon Stock, an English Carmelite, in the mid-13th century, presenting him with the brown scapular, a simple garment symbolizing her protection and intercession. The scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel is now worn by millions of Catholics worldwide as a sign of devotion and trust in Mary's maternal care. The miracles associated with Mount Carmel extend beyond the days of Elijah and the founding of the Carmelite order. Across generations, countless believers have reported answered prayers and extraordinary graces attributed to the intercession of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. While not all of these miracles are formally recorded or canonized, stories abound of healings, conversions, and moments of personal transformation linked to faith in Mary's protection. Many Christians, especially those in the Carmelite tradition, believe that wearing the scapular with faith and devotion draws them closer to Christ through the loving guidance of his mother. Mount Carmel's impact reaches far beyond Israel's borders. The Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, celebrated on July 16th, is a major event for Christians worldwide. In Haifa, Israel, the celebration is especially vibrant. Pilgrims ascend the mountain, participating in processions, prayers, and a special mass at the Carmelite monastery. The air is filled with the sound of traditional music, and communities gather for feasts that reflect the mountain's enduring role as a symbol of unity and faith. In Spain, Our Lady of Mount Carmel is venerated as the patroness of the sea, and her feast is marked by colorful maritime processions, especially in coastal towns. Sailors and fishermen decorate their boats and carry statues of the Virgin, seeking her blessing and protection on the waters. This tradition has spread to many former Spanish colonies, including Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, and Mexico, where processions, dances, and communal meals celebrate Mary's role as a guiding star for her people. In the Dominican Republic, the feast day is a national holiday, marked by festivals, fireworks, and heartfelt prayers. The global reach of Mount Carmel's legacy is further evident in the annual prayer vigils held at the Trinity Test Site in New Mexico. Here, the date of the feast coincides with the anniversary of the first atomic bomb explosion in 1945. Pilgrims gather to pray for peace and the abolition of nuclear weapons, linking the mountain's message of divine power and mercy to the urgent needs of the modern world. Christian beliefs and practices related to Mount Carmel vary across denominations, but share common threads of devotion, prayer, and trust in God's providence. While the Catholic Church has developed the most elaborate traditions surrounding Our Lady of Mount Carmel and the brown scapular, many Orthodox and Protestant Christians also honor the mountain's biblical heritage. The story of Elijah's faith and God's dramatic intervention resonates across Christian communities, inspiring sermons, hymns, and spiritual retreats. For the Carmelites, both religious and lay, Mount Carmel remains a spiritual homeland. The rule of the Carmelites, shaped by centuries of prayer on the mountain, calls its members to live in allegiance to Jesus Christ, following the example of Mary and Elijah. Their mission of contemplative prayer, service, and openness to the Spirit continues to draw men and women to the slopes of Carmel, in Israel and around the world. Today, Mount Carmel stands as a living testament to the enduring power of faith. Its rocky heights and tranquil monasteries remind pilgrims and seekers alike that moments of divine encounter can transform lives and shape the course of history. From the fire that consumed Elijah's sacrifice to the quiet prayers of modern-day pilgrims, Mount Carmel's story is one of hope, courage, and the relentless search for God's presence in the world.